I'm Bill with American Heritage Properties, and I wanted to talk to you today about how to establish the rental value for your rental home. It's not as easy as you might think. A lot of people look at what their expenses are and think, well, I need to cover my expenses. Well, your expenses don't have anything to do with what the market value is for your rental property. That would be the same as determining what your value of your house is based on what you can afford. It doesn't work that way, and your expenses don't have any influence over what the market conditions are. What we do at American Heritage Properties is we evaluate the market on basically a weekly basis. We know what's happening as far as supply and demand goes. We know what properties are renting for. And then we have a variety of resources that we search in order to find comparable properties, find what they've been renting for, and find how long the vacancy has been and what our experience has been with those. What's important is that you price your property at an amount that you can find a quality tenant in a reasonable amount of time. Those two are very important. If you list your home above market value, typically you'll get one of three things. You'll get lucky, you'll find somebody that's from out of the area or doesn't know the values, and they'll rent it. Chances are they'll move after their lease is up because they'll realize that they've overpaid for the property. The second thing you might get is you might find a lesser quality tenant. It would be like paying a much higher interest rate on a car loan because your credit's not as good. Well, that's what you might find. It's not worth it as a landlord to get a little bit more rent and compromise on the quality of the tenant. The third thing you might get is an extended vacancy time. Over time, if you wait long enough, sure, you might find somebody that's looking for exactly what you've got and they may pay a premium for it. But if it takes you 3 months longer than it would have otherwise to rent your property, that's 3 months of lost rent. It's not worth it. You're better to competitively price your home in order to find a tenant. Quality tenant, reasonable amount of time. Two very important figures. Now you can do some research yourself. You can search Craigslist, you can search Zillow and Trulia, HotPads. You'll come up with a variety of different information. But unlike the sales market that's very specific about what the values were, you can't always count on what somebody else listed their property for as being the value of your property. Let's say that your home's worth $1,500. Well, just because somebody put theirs on the market for $2,000, it doesn't mean yours is worth $2,000. They may have just pulled it out of a hat and they wanted to make a profit on this property that there's no way they'll get that price for it. Or they might rent to 15 people that don't qualify so that they can get that value. That's not what a competitive market value would be for a property, though, and that's not how you would establish it. What we do is we look at the market on a continuous basis. Because we always have properties on the market, we rent about 350 properties a year. We know what the market is doing. We determine the price based on what we've handled in the area, what we've rented properties for recently, what the market's doing now. We also use that online research because we want to know what other properties are renting for or marketed at nearby. With all of that information, we put the property on the market then, and then we closely evaluate what the activity is. We actually track the number of calls and number of showings. And then we compare it to others that are on the market. Is this one performing above average, below average? Are we getting applications? Are we getting good applications, poor applications? All of these things are taken into consideration, and then recommendations are made. We'll make a change if it's necessary. My thought is you usually want to start off a little bit high and then work your way down. Not crazy high, just a little on the higher side. It's a lot easier to work your way down than to work your way up. But don't wait too long to make those changes. But those are some of the ways that we determine what the market value is for a property in San Diego. If you have a home that you're considering renting, you're more than welcome to give me a call. And over the phone, I'll give you what my recommendation is. Not the best way to give a recommendation, but at least you'll have some input. I'm Bill with American Heritage Properties.